That was too much. Live from New York, it's the show that's congratulating, because you're pounding. You got me confused. Who was it?
Franz Wagner.
Franz Wagner.
5 for 270. It doesn't look so dumb putting him on the pyramid now, does it, Brew?
That was 2 years ago.
Brew didn't even know which Wagner brother he was.
No, it was too early. It was too early.
Way too 5 for 270.
What are they doing?
Good for him, though. He's a nice player.
You got to pay your good players.
Nice young player. He's more than fine.
No,
he's more than
he's not.
He's more than fine.
Frisky Magic, they're fine.
All right, we should start the real show.
I like it.
We start with another
Buddy
shooter
did his own
spurns
title
the
run.
Lakers. Buddy Hield, who it feels like the Lakers wanted for years, joined the Warriors in a decision-making process outlined in The Athletic. There was 4 authors on this article. I'll just read what they wrote. Hield didn't make a final decision until after a late Wednesday night call with Steve Kerr, and then a night to sleep on it. Oh, that's nice. Hield chose the Warriors because of the opportunity to win, per league sources. His suitors included, and we did not make this up, the Detroit Pistons. Lakers. What does this say about the Lakers, Brew, that they're grouped with the Detroit Pistons?
Well, they're not grouped with the Detroit Pistons. They're much better than the Pistons. You going to argue that?
They did win one more playoff game, so you have
All right, here we go. This is interesting, Nick, and I think you'll agree, because neither the Warriors or the Lakers are, like, close to a title. So it's not like Hield's going somewhere where they expect to win. We'll talk about later. If they can get Lowry Markkanen, sure, then I really like him as a contender. But right now, I would even argue, and we talked about this last year, I think the Lakers are slightly better than the Warriors.
They have been each of the last 2 years.
Right. They're because of AD inside and their size overall, I think they're generally better.
Yeah, and that's not like a hot take, Brew. The
No,
Lakers made the
right.
playoffs last year. The Warriors didn't. And the
beat
year
the
before,
Warriors
the
in the year
Lakers
before.
beat them in the playoffs.
Right.
So go ahead.
It boils down to this, simple and plain, I think. And there are a few other factors, but really he understands, okay, neither the Warriors or the Lakers are really likely to win the championship next year. But if you don't win in L.A., you're the problem and you get the blame. If you don't win in Golden State, you just don't win in Golden State. That's a big difference. Like because whenever LeBron doesn't win, everybody else gets blamed. LeBron has gotten blamed a lot of times, too, in the past. But right now, everybody's like, what does he need? He needs more help. If you don't go there and play great, look at every role player on their team, save maybe Austin Reeves, is being looked at sideways.
No, Austin Reeves got looked at, too.
Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Like Rui and D'Angelo, and I get D'Angelo in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves, but that's the thing. Torian Prince, who just signed with the Bucks.
Yep.
So I think Hield understands that. Not to mention, the Lakers got a lot going on. It's obviously wherever LeBron's at, it's the microscope is huge because he's LeBron. But then you got the issue with Bronny. Then you got J.J. Redick, a coach who knows whether or not he can coach. And I think Hield also looked at, Steve Kerr, we know he's a great coach.
Yeah.
J.J. Redick, who knows?
How about that?
And the assistant coach for Golden State is head coaching. One of the assistants is head coaching the Bahamas national team, which Hield is playing for. So he had a lot of reasons. But I do think ultimately it's like, if we don't win it in L.A., which we're not, I might get blamed. If we don't win Golden State, it's all good.
So all deal with all of those. But I also want to kind of set the record straight on something. The Lakers couldn't sign Buddy Hield. Like this, I thought this, for 4 reporters to be on this story, it's an interesting one. LeBron James was not taking a discount for them to sign Buddy Hield. They don't have the money. So, this was not available to them. Buddy Hield was not choosing. I thought it was really odd reporting that he was choosing between the Pistons, who have cap space, the Warriors, who were able to do it because of the mid-level exception they were able to open up, and then the Lakers, who are not in on it. Like they were previously in previous iterations.
They only have the taxpayer mid-level.
Right, and so they couldn't sign him, so it felt a little opportunistic to put the Lakers in the story because it creates this conversation, which is fine, so be it. But LeBron James was not taking a pay cut to open up space for Buddy Hield, and the only way the Lakers could have gotten Buddy Hield was if LeBron James took a pay cut to open up that space. So I think
that's the absolute only way.
Well, unless you're going to trade Rui Hachimura, trade a player that's going to make the amount of money that he makes. He just got 2 years, $21 million. And I picked Rui, but I guess Gabe Vincent, someone who's making. I don't think
that's
Gabe's
a
making
serious
10.
reporting mistake.
Yeah,
if that's the case.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree. I think it is a very bad reporting mistake that was, I will say, done with good intention. But the Lakers could not get Buddy Hield. And so unless they were going to trade a player away, unless LeBron was going to take a pay cut for it, and LeBron was not taking a pay cut for Buddy Hield, I know that. So that's the first piece of it. The second piece is kind of the more abstract ideas, which is, are the Warriors more attractive than the Lakers who get rid of the CBA stuff for the reasons Brew mentioned? I think a lot of those things are correct. One of the things that jumped out to me that was noteworthy was this. Steve Kerr got him on the phone. And that, to me, is why the Klay thing was frustrating and other things with the Lakers are frustrating. Because I do think it's noteworthy and meaningful for the power brokers and important people in a franchise to talk to a person and sell them on a roll. If you're Buddy Hield, I bet Steve said, hey, a lot of shots opening up now with Klay gone. You fit what we're doing. Like, I think basketball-wise, there's a lot of reasons. Even though Buddy totally fell out of the rotation with Philly, he was basically DNP coach's decision until their final playoff game.
Right.
You would have thought they could have used him. So for Buddy Hield seems to be much more sought after by teams that don't have him than the team that he currently is on. For some reason, I don't know. I've always liked the player, and the Lakers obviously were trying to get him for a long time previously. But the other piece of it is, I agree with you that guys around LeBron get a lot more blame than guys around Steph. But don't you also think LeBron gets a lot more blame than Steph? Like, don't you, when the Warriors lose, I think that everything around LeBron is amplified. Right. And so I think blame is amplified on him more than it is on KD or Steph or, whomever is in his tier. And blame is placed on his
Steph
teammates
doesn't get
more.
much blame at all.
At all. That's why I was, like, when the Warriors lose, it's like, oh, they lost. Nobody's blamed. When the Lakers lose, everybody's blamed. I'm blaming Pelinka, Darvin Ham, teammates, LeBron, whomever. So I think all of it is just so much more amplified.
All right, well, free agency period coming to a close. There's a handful of guys still out there looking for homes. DeMar DeRozan, fresh off another Kendrick Lamar cameo, probably the best player available. Is there any move the Lakers can make to salvage this offseason?
Well, there really aren't many. Look, I mentioned yesterday Trae Young. They don't seem to have much interest in Trae. I get it. He'd be a max player. Is he getting you over the top? I like Trae there. I think he's a good fit.
Can I ask you a question about that? Did your opinion on that change once they hired Nate McMillan? And Trae and Nate, obviously, that's a big problem.
Yeah, no.
I think that kind of X'd out Trae as a possibility.
I don't think I don't think they're really looking at him with or without Nate, but sure. But, who knows? Maybe they could have reconciled or whatever. I do like Kuzma. I'd give up Rui Hachimura for Kuzma. I like Kuzma there.
Sure.
But other than that, DeMar DeRozan, I don't know where he's getting his money at. There's talk about the sign and trade. He may have to take the mid-level somewhere. The Lakers have the smaller mid-level available. Could he look at, let me go 1 year somewhere, play really well, and then next year when money opens up for more teams, I can get something. But the bottom line is there really isn't much out there. I think it's going to have to be J.J. Redick really working some magic with the roster, doing some different things. And then the guys that were injured last year that I've mentioned, Gabe Vincent, Jarrett Vanderbilt, Spencer Dinwiddie, who are all pretty good players, them really stepping up, staying healthy, and playing well. That's really how the Lakers are going to improve. And maybe Dalton Knecht. He is 23. So you think, is he ready to play? Yeah, if he gives them something.
Okay. Here's the question. I had a list of free agents here that are still available.
None of them are moving the needle, I assume what you're going to say.
Well, first of all, a lot of them have already been on the Lakers. Dinwiddie, Beasley, Lonnie Walker, Markieff Morris, JaVale McGee, Tristan Thompson back again if you want him for the fourth time. And then maybe trade targets, Brandon Ingram and Kyle Kuzma. We've already seen this too. But when you're talking about DeMar, and we talked about this yesterday about the Lakers culture compared to Celtics. The Celtics had a plan, and we're like, all right, 3-and-D guys, tall guys that can defend. We're going to shoot a lot of threes. That's our identity. That's who we're going after.
Did you say tall guys is one of them? It's the NBA, bro.
Well, that's true. Everybody's tall, though.
Okay, that's right. I would long defenders is another way to put it, but yeah, I agree.
Okay, you want a $10 word?
Long, rangy, athletic.
Tall guys
explain
seemed like
tall guys.
Is there
Tall
a team in the
makes it sound
NBA
like
right
you don't
now
know.
that's
Yeah,
not
the Warriors.
Tall guys?
Yeah, the Warriors are like, we're good at 6'8".
Okay, all right, fair enough. Go ahead.
Hey, like, is he 6'9"?
I didn't mean to interrupt
No.
you. Sorry, go
That's
ahead.
fair, but listen,
I understand your
when
point.
it comes to basketball,
Just don't
tall
say
is
tall
is important.
Why not?
Say long and rangy.
No, I'm going to say they like tall guys.
Athletic.
No, Al Horford's tall.
Finish.
Cornette's tall.
I think you were making a smart point, and I derailed it. I didn't mean to.
He
Go ahead.
You derailed it by using that elementary
go.
description
That's true.
of
They like tall
basketball
guys.
players.
All right, go
In
ahead.
any event,
Thank you.
the Lakers are a little bit like an outfit where it's just like none of it necessarily goes together, but it's all kind of
Yes.
They're just looking to put something together
agree
that
with
doesn't
this.
necessarily work. How about
yeah,
DeMar
they don't know
DeRozan?
where
Like,
they're going.
why? Because you're like doing mid-range.
I don't think
veterans.
DeMar's
Like, no,
a
he
great
just because
fit.
he's
No,
available.
that- really good player,
It
but-
is right. So pivoting from we're hot after Klay Thompson to we're hot after DeMar DeRozan.
Yes.
Is a little bit like, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house, and you should pull up like a ranch on Zillow, and it's like, but if I don't get this one, and then all of a sudden it's a condo in the middle of the city, it's like, wait a minute.
What's
It's
the
like,
plan?
I don't know, man. Like they're both in
I
my
just
price
need to
range,
move.
and I need to do something. So I agree with that. That there didn't seem to be a linear thought process. I don't think DeMar DeRozan's realistic because again, they don't have the only way for them to acquire a player now is in a trade. It's it. They got no
They have
space left.
the mid-level.
No, I think
Oh
that's
no, because they got 15 guys.
yeah, right. So they got 15 guys, and so this is who they are. And this is why I don't think it's going to be salvageable. They're in a very weird spot because Pelinka clearly is prioritizing the draft picks, right? So they have the Lakers have two assets that the rest of the league is interested in. The future draft picks and Austin Reeves, if we're assuming Anthony Davis is not available, right? That's really it. D'Angelo Russell is not a sought-after asset. Rui Hachimura is not his bad player. But Austin Reeves, because of the contract, and he's a good player on a great contract. He's an attractive asset. Future picks, because your best player is 40. Those are attractive assets. The GM, I think, is prioritizing those draft picks because GMs get complimented and flowers laid at their feet in the media for having they have their war chest. Like I think
So
Presti,
savvy.
right, savvy GM, and the GMs who get killed are the GMs who have traded away all their picks. I think there is, not necessarily with Pelinka, but with the rest of the cabal that runs the Lakers, the triumvirate or whomever it is, a real emotional attachment to Austin Reeves. We found this player, right?
Sure.
We found this player. We developed this player. And so when you look at, for instance, what DeJounte Murray was just traded for, the Lakers could have gotten him last year and probably could have trumped that offer this offseason had they wanted to include Austin Reeves. I'm not even necessarily saying they should, but I'm saying had they wanted to. Zach LaVine is still available out there, for the whole world to have. Trae Young might be available. I think the Nate McMillan thing might hurt it. But if the GM doesn't want to trade the picks and the rest of management says Austin Reeves is almost untouchable, you're stuck. There's just you have no moves to make to get your team to the next level. And what is, I think, very frustrating, Brew, to Lakers fans is this. The Dallas Mavericks had Luka and Kyrie. I think that if we were to rank Luka, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kyrie, that's exactly how I'd rank it. Like the Mavs have they have the first and fourth, the Lakers have the two guys in the middle. They missed the play-in entirely. They then make a savvy draft pick, a few small moves around the edges. They're in the finals. Now, Luka, again, is in a different stratosphere right now than LeBron, but Luka in these playoffs wasn't apex Luka. the Lakers have been nibbling around the edges, and I think some people feel like if you made a few savvy, smart moves, if playing in that Denver series was DeJounte Murray and not D'Angelo Russell, does Jamal Murray hit those game winners? Do those things happen? Sure. Are the margins close enough? And for them to just be standing pat is a really, I think, fairly frustrating thing when they've done nothing.
I think the other thing with Dallas, remember, Kyrie and Luka had just gotten together.
It's totally fair.
They had to adjust. And they weren't playing great until they made these deals at the deadline. And I think, look, it's a challenge. You don't always know how guys are going to play with LeBron because he is such a huge, factor. He's not nearly as ball dominant, so I think it's easier to project now than it used to be. But like Malik Monk, if they had never had Malik Monk, you'd probably sitting there like, man, if they could have got a Malik Monk,
Yeah.
So that's always a challenge, too, with the Lakers.
All right, let's head to Northern California.
They could use more tall guys, too.
Wouldn't hurt. Joker, Wemby. Imagine if they had Wemby. He's 7'5". Goodbye, Klay. Hello, Hield, Kyle Anderson, and DeAnthony Melton. That's the trio so far that has been added to Golden State. Here's their numbers, trying to replace Klay's production. Yeah, Kyle Anderson doesn't shoot many threes at all, but Buddy Hield's largely the three-point shooter. So has Golden State done enough to replace Klay?
Well, I don't think they are worse now than they were, but they weren't close to good enough last year. That's the problem. So it's not that they just need to replace what they lost in Klay. They need to go further. And so in the Western Conference, Brew, you're not a gambler. But if you had to bet an amount of money that mattered, the Warriors are definitively, without a doubt, better than the following teams.
Great. I love this game.
To me,
I love this.
There are only 2 teams 100% on that list. Go ahead.
Portland.
Yes, and Utah. That's it.
2 teams that aren't trying.
Right.
But if you're trying,
everyone else, Brew, is either definitively better than the Warriors in the exact same group, or, like, to me, I put the Spurs and Houston in the Warriors are probably better than them, but I don't know.
Houston was talking trash last year.
Houston, so that's the problem for, you know what I mean, for me, like that. They were the 10th best team last year in the Western Conference. They look about the same to me, which is a problem.
Yeah, they're essentially the same right now.
Yeah.
Now, and I keep bringing up Markkanen because his name's out there. I actually think Markkanen would elevate them to contender status in the West. Oof. Now, I'm not saying the top contender, but I think they would join that group.
Would they be in that tier 1 on your tiers? Would
they might jump it. I think they jump in the tier 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
How many teams are in
the
tier
back
1?
end
There
of
were
tier
4.
1.
There were 4.
Does it go left to right?
So it'd be 5.
Yeah,
Don't
go
worry
ahead.
about that. Maybe. It's a tapestry.
Sorry, yeah.
I've heard that somewhere. But no, look, this group, I mean, Buddy Hield's a shooter. He actually shot 38.9% last year from 3. Klay shot 38.7. Yeah. DeAnthony Melton, he's only 6'2", but he's a really good defender, better than Klay at this point.
Yeah.
Well, he's not that long and rangy. Yeah. I'll give you that. But and then Kyle Anderson to me is like a poor man's Draymond. He's tough. He's gritty.
I like that.
He defends well. He's a great passer. Has a great feel for the game. Smart player, but doesn't shoot. I mean, I think he shoots even less than Draymond as far as having open looks and just passing it up. So it'll be interesting to see how they use him. I guess he'll be that second team Draymond. But they got to do something else. They're clearly trying to win, which I like, right? They're not just saying, okay, we're going to keep Steph and not try to win. But I don't know what moves they can make. But if they can get Markkanen, I'd be doing everything I could to get him.
But if they can't get Markkanen.
Or Kuminga needs to make a huge jump. Yeah. Kuminga's good. Like last year getting 16, he needs to become a legitimate 20-point scorer, which I think is possible. Now, he doesn't shoot. He's not a shooter, but he can score other ways. And then you need Wiggins to get back. He had been really good with them his first, 4 years with him, averaging about 19 points. Obviously was huge in the finals. And then last year just fell off the map.
The last 2 years. The last 2 years he fell off the map.
Last year he went from 17 points to like 12.
He had he was gone and so it's just since the finals and getting the contract, he's been gone. Listen, even if Kuminga ascends, if Jonathan Kuminga in his current or even in his improved form, but not 5 years from now, Jonathan Kuminga, is your second best guy, you're dead. You're dead. Unless your best guy is Jokic Giannis, even if in the Western Conference, you're dead.
I don't know if he's your second best player.
He has
he's your second scorer. He's your second best scorer.
But Draymond is going
like Draymond does a lot of other things that are huge for him. I mean, last year when he played, they were on a 49-win pace, which is, okay. So but he's still a very good defender, and his offensive intelligence allows him to do a lot of things. So they just need, Wiggins is key.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.